Faraday had a never give up attitude and he respected Davy. So he accepted the assignment despite knowing that it would be very difficult. He toiled for 4 years with no help from Davy and, as expected, failed. Faraday never learned the secret, and this reminded his first failure as a scientist. To remind himself of these difficult times, he kept a single glass brick on his shelf as a souvenir. As a souvenir. This would inspire him during difficult times. In 1829, Davy died and Faraday succeeded him as head of the laboratory. He was free to pursue whatever he liked, and he made another revolutionary discovery. He noticed that if he moved a magnet, it could produce electrical current. Thus, he could now convert motion into electricity. This is how the electrical generator was born, something still used today to generate all kinds of power, like dynamos and other devices. Faraday was now a legend. In 1840, he developed memory loss, which continued for the rest of his life. But the disease did not stop him. He persevered, starting a complicated experiment to prove that light was closely related to electricity and magnetism. A novel thought in those times. Remember that piece of Bavarian glass Faraday had kept on his shelf? He was determined to convert the reminder of his first major failure to an instrument of great success. He used the same glass now to show that in the presence of a magnet, light could be isolated into a single wave rather than spreading out randomly in all directions, a concept called polarization. He then took the age old experiment of sprinkling iron fillings on a sheet of paper near a magnet, making circular patterns. He went on to prove that these patterns were not a property of the iron fillings. In fact, they were due to invisible magnetic field that filled the empty space around the magnet and hence disturbed the fillings. This is where his lack of formal education went against him. Faraday did not know much about advanced mathematics, so he just copied the iron filling patterns with his hand. He was unable to explain them in the form of mathematical equations. He made hundreds of such drawings, but without equations they were not accepted. Fortune favored the brave Faraday once again when he met James Maxwell, a wealthy, educated physicist well versed in mathematics. He was willing to work with Faraday. It was Maxwell who translated Faraday's idea into a set of equations that are now called Maxwell's equations. Their combined work has helped us in many ways. Electronics and communication systems today are designed around their discoveries. Someday we might even be able to communicate with aliens across different galaxies using the products of these discoveries. Faraday's life started with difficulties, but as a great scientist, he met each difficulty with perseverance and conviction. He was given impossible tasks which he undertook as challenges and opportunities. He epitomizes what the Walt Disney character Pinocchio said: when you wish upon a star, it does not matter who you are. This the whole thing that I read was from the introduction to Reignited by APJ Abdul Kalam and Srijan Pal Singh. So, from the story, we got to know that Michael Faraday uh, It was Michael Faraday who contributed greatly
According to Wikipedia,
to
the
the
free
understanding.
encyclopedia, Michael
Sorry for that. What I was saying that it was Michael Faraday who contributed greatly to the understanding of electromagnetism without any formal education. And it also gives us the message that in order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. The quote which I just said is also by Michael Faraday. Now I am going to read this poem. Please listen. When I ask you to listen to me and you start giving me advice, you have not done what I asked. When I ask you to listen to me and you begin to tell me why I shouldn't feel that way, you are trampling on my feelings. When I ask you to listen to me and you feel you have to do something to solve my problem, you have failed me, strange as they may seem. Listen, all I ask is that you listen. Don't talk or do, just hear me. Advice is cheap. 20 cents will get you both Dear Abby and Billy Graham in the same newspaper. All I can do for myself. I am not helpless. Maybe discouraged and faltering, but not helpless. When you do something for me that I can and need to do for myself, you contribute to my fear and inadequacy. But when you accept as a simple fact that I feel what I feel, no matter how irrational, then I stop trying to convince you and get about this business of understanding what is behind this irrational feeling. And when that is clear, the answers are obvious and I don't need advice. Irrational feelings make sense when we understand what is behind them. Perhaps that is why prayer works sometimes for some people, because God is mute and He doesn't give advice or try to fix things. God just listens and let you work it out for yourself. So please listen and just hear me. And if you want to talk, wait a minute for your turn and I will listen to you. Author is unknown. I think the message is very clear. The author is just trying to say that just listen to her/him and don't give your advice and anything. Just listen to what the person is saying or what he/she should have to say.